So there's your grid then for the first race of the Infinity GT Manufacturers Series. This is Season 4, this is League 2, and we're starting in the GT4 machinery today. So you've just seen the grid, let's get on with the race. So it's a 50-minute endurance race ahead of us today. Alright, I'm just waiting for the lights to go out. It's a long run down to turn 1. Mutt has 91 in the VWs, won't get a good start. Watch for James Harben in the Subaru in the background there, he should get away well. As everyone gets away well, the Aston bogs down a little bit, the two Mercedes get an absolute flyover start, so does James Harben, is immediately up the inside of Hazard91 and up into P5. Mutt all the way down in P4, then it is Fat Picklesbro and Terence fighting their way through. Myself, I've got through to P3, Mutt 36 holding P4 at the minute. We've got James Harben P5, Haz91 is in 6th with Surfer in 7th. Looks like a bit of a battle at the top for P2. It's myself that's just got through there ahead of Mutt and Terence. Mutt and Terence started having a little bit of a battle. It slowed them both down, enabled me just to slingshot past them both. We've got a little bit further back. We've got Tricky Treat in the other Subaru, he's P8. We've got, I'm just going to call you Phil, let me know if I need to rename you Phil. In Team Viper Sniper P9, Mental Mike P10, Ice Chand 11th, Infinity Decals in 12th, Sea Trickle 13th, ESR Idol, good to have him back, he's 14th, Marshall 15th, and Gemini is last at the minute. Mutt 36 in the VW. Has cleanly got his way past myself. That VW is an absolute rocket ship of a car, so I expect to see these VWs in Group 4 format pretty much competing at the top pretty much every week, because that's just how it's going to be. We've got a lot of vying for position going on at the minute. First lap we've got Fat Pickles, but oh, he's gone wide a little bit there. Let's just see what happened. Let's go on board Mutt's perspective. Yeah, he just took a little bit too much of that corner. That is going to let Mutt through, but not myself. I'm going to have to try and get a move made on him here. So with the overspeed, the Porsche does corner better than the Mercedes, but just because Fat Pickles Road scrubbed his tyres a little bit, I was basically just able to get that position. Terence holding 4th at the minute. Good start so far for the two Mercedes cars. James Harben P5 in the Subaru. That's a car that's going to struggle here with its tyre wear. It ruins its tyres pretty quickly. We saw Phil in the background trying to make a move on the other Subaru. He's had to back out of that one. It remains P8. It's Tricky Tree and Surfer Ev fighting for that P6 spot. A little bit further back we've got Haz91, Ice Chand and Infinity Decals battling for P10. Mental Mike's made a little bit of an escape ahead. Ice Chand currently holding P11 for doing a good job of it as well. Let's get back up to the sharp end then. Mutt 36 holding the lead of the race at the minute. You've got myself P2 in the Mercedes. I'm getting a nosebleed being this high. Fat Picklesbro P3 at the minute, but he has got Terence for company. It's just going to be a case of race pace, I think, now for these two cars, as Terence looks to make a move up the inside of Fat Picklesbro, gets that move done but goes deep. Fat Pickles cuts back. Lovely racing between the two. Fat Picklesbro, I think, saw that come in and just sort of allowed for it and got the cut back, knew he'd have the better traction on the exit. Nicely done. So the two Subarus starting to gang right now. Surfer Ev's lost a couple of positions somewhere. He's down in P9, starting to struggle. He's got a Sea Trickle all over his back end. Now that Toyota is a car that will grip exceptionally well. Will have good corner and lateral speed, but will suffer a little bit on the straights. And somehow Ice Chand's all the way at the back as well with Marshall. So Gemini's made a couple of spaces up as well. So it's all going off. At the sharp end of the field, things have started to separate a little bit. So Mutt's just put a 51.9 on the board, 52.4 for me. So yeah, I'm just not as quick as the VW around here. It's just pure pace that VW's got. Terence and Fat Pickles both still battling for P3. James Harben staying in the fight, although these guys have been managing tyres a lot now. They've got to. So they will start to drop back a little bit as they start to manage those rubber circles. As well as battling, we've got the other half of Team Viper Sniper, which is Gemini. He's trying not to be last. He's battling with Marshall and Ice Chand. Ice Chand, who was bottom, he's made 2 places up in the past couple of corners. Let's jump back up to the top. And Mutt 36 still leading away. You got myself, P2, starting to break a little bit of a gap now to Terrence and Fat Pickles, and that's mainly because these two have been fighting. The 2 Subarus, Tricky Tree and James Harben. Tricky up the inside. They will of course probably be working together. Didn't look like James fought that one at all. And then my race came undone as I just touched the grass, so we'll just give you a little bit of a replay of that from my perspective, and you'll see how minimal contact this was. Just the tiniest bit, but because you got that forward momentum, you're off into the never, and unfortunately it puts me pretty much to the back of the grid. So I'm now down in P12, just behind Mental Mike. So race massively undone for me, but there was a lot of time left, so I did want to just try and knuckle down and get some moves made. That has put Terrence up to P2. Fat Pickles into P3, but they weren't touching Mutt at this stage of the race. They've just got to kind of hope that Mutt's tyres go off. We've got Tricky Tree, James Harben and now Phil battling away for P6. We're just on board the Viper. Can he get the move made on James down the insides? He can. This Viper does sound good. It is a nice sounding car. But Phil's going to go immediately on the attack against Tricky Tree. Tricky for the time being with the Subaru's got good lateral grip. Its tyres will still be in relatively good shape. It can hold its own for the time being. Has 91 after his early off recovered. SimFx trying to cover a few positions. He's battling away with Infinity Decals. Oh, Infinity Decals has just gone off the road. You can see myself there with Mental Mike. So I felt at this stage I definitely had pace in the car, just stuck in traffic basically. I was trying to save a lot of fuel here as well, and we'll keep an eye on that hopefully as the race progresses. Mental Mike with a nice move down the inside of Infinity Decals. I try and follow him, but as we saw earlier, the Porsche's got really good off-corner traction, so it just wasn't going to happen. I started to have flashbacks as I came to this corner, so just took it a lot steadier as well. So the other Viper, competing at the sharp end, is trying to get past Tricky Tree, and it's not been able to make that move happen at the minute. The Subaru's holding their own, and to say before the race, these boys currently holding 4th and 6th. We're expecting to be in the lower part of the race. Currently holding good positions though. And can Phil get his way past Tricky Tree down the main straight? The Viper's gone off the straight line speed. Subaru's decent on the brakes, but Phil just had enough pace to carry that one past. And up to P4, so a good move there. 2 Subarus in 2 laps. Has 91 started to reel these guys in as well, bit by bit. So he's next to be on the attack against the Subarus. The Subarus will be starting to lose their tyres a little bit now, so their pace will be starting to fall off a little bit. I'd expect the Toyotas to hold on to the tyres quite nicely. They don't put a lot of strain on them. As you can see, I'm just stuck at the back of this queue really, just trying to get past. It's going to be hard for me to rescue anything out of this race. ASR Idol P16. ASR Idol does the commentary for League 1 and League 3, so definitely go and check him out on YouTube. I will link his channel in the description below, so you can give that a click and go and watch his work. He started doing a lot more commentary. Definitely worth going, dropping him a follow or a subscribe or whatever it is on YouTube these days. and yeah, he's just returned to racing. So on a I say a new wheel, it's a new wheel to him. So Mutt 36 then, holding good pace in that V-dub. Plainly in the 52s, 51s. Terrence doing well, but starting to drop a little bit of pace now. A little bit of tyre wear will be creeping in. Fat Pickles Bro, P3, similar. In fact, he's getting quicker now, he's out of traffic, so now he's not directly battling with other cars, he can just focus on his own racing, his own lines. I'm not sure who's going to be first to bite the bullet with a pit stop. Most teams predicted a 2-stop strategy, and you see me battling away with Infinity Decals. Porsche actually alright in a straight line. It's good in its brakes as well, so I just couldn't get that move made. Infinity Decals with a lovely defence of that position. And let me have the inside line, but really nice on the brakes, Infinity Decals, and I just couldn't get that move made. Not enough room at the end there for me either, so I had to back out of that one. And all the while I'm being caught by Surfer F. So Surfer's down in 12th, why? Let me see if I can cut away and find out why. Unfortunately, it was as simple as he just got bullied by 2 other cars last lap, and that was myself and Dave, Infinity Decals. So the top 3 pretty well spaced out. A bit of a gap now to Phil in Team Viper Spiper, I was going to call him Viper Sniper. Tricky Tree keeping the Subaru honest. James has basically fallen to these 2 cars, Has 91 and Sea Trickle. He's just struggling to defend against them really, because the Subaru's awful in a straight line. Autopolis is probably the Subaru's weakest track. We might see better results out of that in future races, but for this race they weren't going to go very far. Mental Mind there just went a little bit deep at the sweeper, which is the corner I went off on, so myself and Infinity Decals invited ourselves through. I need to get this move made on Infinity Decals pretty quickly, and I can't remember when I do it. Because I could see we were losing these guys up ahead, you see, James and Sea Trickle and all that a lot, and I basically needed to... They're who I was racing at this point. So now it's a case of tucking the slipstream, as Has 91 pits. Yeah, tucking the slipstream of that Porsche and just try and get him on the brakes. Is it this lap? So I'm going to have a go at him. See, I just on the brakes basically. When I have a look back at that from my perspective, so I was behind. I braked about the normal time, but I was only 80% braking for most of it, and then I'm off the brakes, as you can see. Just held my gears a little bit as well, just so the engine braking did some of the work for me. And yeah, Infinity Decals again, nice and clean racing. Thank you for that, Dave. Always nice when it's nice and clean. Alright, so we're 12 minutes deep. It might just be a question of when some of these guys pit now for tyres, because tyres and fuel is the limiting factor. Some cars were going to try an ambitious 1-stop. Now you had to run both compounds of tyres, so you had to run the soft and or the medium, but you had to use both during the race. And you had to use both for at least one full-time lap, so an out lap, a full lap, and then an in lap. So I think what some guys were doing, they might try and do the 1-stop and just do a bit of a slower stint on the mediums later on and just save themselves a pit stop. Some, like myself, went into it thinking a 2-stop's probably going to be a better choice, so do a 20-minute stint on softs, a 10-minute stint on the mediums, and then a 20-minute stint on the softs at the end. Everyone sort of has a slightly different approach to it, and it varies on your driving style as well. So what you'll probably see, once a pit stop starting, the order will get all messed up. And then in the last 10 minutes or so, it all starts to sort of make sense and fall into place. So a lot of the middle of this race, in fairness, unless there's some really good moves happen, I won't really cover all that much of it. But again, we will just see what happens, I guess. It's the easiest way of sort of mentioning that. So it's me v James Harben now. James and the Subaru's going to struggle against the Mercedes in a straight line. So so the two Subarus side by side. That might let me get 2 in 1 here. Do they defend it? Yeah, they do. Nicely defended, boys. That's what making a Subaru barricade against the Mercedes. But no, that was nice work. It's a C-Trickle, I'm doing a very good job in the Toyota. This was a last minute addition to the entry list. This was an Alfa Romeo entry until a late technical glitch meant they swapped, and I'm trying to bully myself past James Harbin now. I'm going side by side with Subaru. It's probably not a good choice. We both just about keep it clean. And now just trying to track down Tricky Tree. Catching C-Trickle might be quite difficult for me. And the top 3 are, the top 3 are long gone. So getting anywhere near the top sort of 4 is going to be very difficult for me. Don't forget we've got all the pits to come as well, yeah. So I fought my way back up to 7th, going to try and get 6th here. I stick a nose in, but didn't see the move actually happening, so backed out of it. I didn't want to start getting slow runs of pushing cars off the track, so I just lined myself up for a better exit here. And thought I'll try and get that Subaru in the same place I was going to go for it last lap. That's kind of the idea. Hard to pass a Subaru through that twisty section because I've got really good lateral grip. So 6.3 litre V8 breezes past the boxer engine and up into P6. Now a big gap to P5, so that's going to be a pretty tough accomplishment. But we'll see what happens as the pit stops are nearing in. Got about 5 minutes before most cars start to pit. We've already seen Has 91 in. So James Harbin now down to 10th. After the tyre, Mental Mike's got his way past him. Surfer Evans the next car to have a go at the Ailing Subaru. We've got Marshall P12, we've got Has 91 P13. He's pitted, of course, already. We've got ESR Idle P14, Gemini 15th at the minute for Gemini, and then Ice Chand, I think he's been in the pits, yeah, he's on out lap, so Ice Chand is 16th at the minute. Muck 36 at the top, he can just manage his pace really, so he doesn't have to worry about racing other cars, so he can nurse his tyres a bit more and probably nurse his fuel. I know there was rumours of him doing a 1-stop, and of course I've done this race so I know what happens, but I've got to keep some suspense for you lot. He could do a 1-stop. With the FF tyre wear, probably a 2-stop might have been quicker, just get the mediums out of the way then go back on softs, but we'll see what happens. Terrence then in the Mercedes, is he going to try and stretch it? He stays out. Fat Pickles Bro in the Porsche, he's got a late pit entry there. Do a good pit entry. So anyone that doesn't know about Autopolis, the pit entry tries to kill you basically is how it works. So yeah, we've got a few cars peeling into the pits now. So we've got James Harbin in. He came in with 43% fuel, so he did a really good job on his fuel. Fat Pickles 39. Surfer Evans used a lot of fuel. Tricky Tree on 37. So the two Subarus doing a good job of saving fuel. That'll help them later on. They don't have to spend as long in the pits. So you can see they're out already. Although ESR Idle does manage to get past Tricky Tree. Could be trying to mount an attack on James, although these guys are on fresh tyres now, so the two Subarus should be okay. Fat Pickles, after his pit stop, is stuck behind Has 91. For his race, he doesn't need to get stuck behind this car. Although this is now his direct competitor's teammate is stuck behind, so Has 91 might play the team game here a little bit and hold him up. He might well choose to do that. We've got Mental Mike P7 for Mental Mike, Infinity Decals in P6. This is of course the Infinity GT Manufacturer Series, which is sponsored by Infinity Decals. So if you're in need of any decals, t-shirts, caps, cups, go check out the website. Link will be in the description. So P5 for myself. I'm not really managing to reel in C Trickle. Keeping the gap to him, but not really bringing it down. It's not been happening. So P5, I'll tumble again once I pit, but I'm expecting a lot of other guys to pit as well. Mutt carries on, so does Terence. We'll see if Phil and C Trickle decide to pit. Not for the time being. So I do come in, clatter the pit exit as well, so that doesn't help. All I did with that, you'll see, watch, I just tapped the wall. So I tapped that inside wall there, look. I'm a professional, ladies and gentlemen, what can I say? Yeah, anyway, that's going to cost me way more time. So I'm coming with 39% fuel, so I've done a decent job on the fuel. I've still got over a third of a tank left, so I'm going to do my medium stint on low fuel. So my plan there, didn't put any fuel in, straight out on those tyres. Yeah, it's got some mediums on now, so I'm going to be a little bit slower. So Infinity Decals is going to be, I don't know if he's on softs or what, but he's yeah, he's just going to go quali laps basically now. Should absolutely breeze past me. So have a little bit of a grid recap, 20 minutes in. So we've got Mutt 36 leading the way. We've got Terence P2 for Terence at the minute. We've got Phil P3, P4. C Trickle P5 at the minute. Mental Mike 5th, but he hasn't pitted yet. Has 91 6th, has pitted earlier on. Fat Pickles Bro also has pitted, he's 7th. James Harbin pitted P8. Tricky Tree P9. Infinity Decals and myself P10 and P11 respectively. Surf Rev in 12th. Marshall in 13th. Ice Chand in 14th. Gemini 15th and Idle in 16th. So let's see what happens when leaders pit, and let's see how this evolves out really. So this is kind of a team sport, and Has 91 is playing the team game. He's held up Fat Pickles Bro for an eternity now. Don't get me wrong, neither of them are going slow. I'd not say they're lapping like a couple of seconds slower than leaders, as we see Fat Pickles Bro make a move, a lovely move. But that in the overall picture with Pickles v Mutt is probably going to be quite critical. I think that's where it'll come to at the end of the race. Mutt is carrying on. Now, the sort of important thing is his tyre drop off is starting to show now. He was in the 53s and 52s, he's now in the 55s. So it sort of makes sense for him to pit now. We're pretty much at half distance. And he's going to carry on. Yeah, but I don't know what his strategy was, you know, so that was a 56.0, so Mutt's just going slower every lap now. I don't know what that car's like on the mediums. Maybe he's just trying to reduce the amount of time spent on the mediums, I'm not sure. Can't have much fuel left though. C Trickle comes in with 7%. That's going to give Pickles second, although the gap between him and Mutt, bearing in mind Mutt hasn't pitted, is 19 seconds near enough. So this could be close towards the end, because yeah, like I said, I don't know what both guys are going to do in terms of strategy. Terence has pitted, he's P4. So again, not sure what the strategies are. We'll obviously see that as the race progresses. Is there anything going on? Myself, I'm in P8 after a couple more pit stops. Race has just kind of gone from bad to worse for me, to be honest, but you keep trucking on, don't you? Something might happen later on and you might rescue some points, who knows. Just trying to make the best of a bad situation, I guess. Mental Mike though must be noted, 51.8 last time round for Mental Mike. He is flying in that Jaguar. So he's got some really good pace at this stage, so watch out for that Jaguar making moves. So as a race leader comes into the pits, 5% of fuel on board that car. Fat Pickles Bro just come around the final corner now. So Pickles is going to take the race lead here. It's going to be a case of how much. We think Pickles has to pit again as well, don't forget. So Haz P2, Terence P3, Filth P4, James P5, Tricky P6, Mutt P... So Mutt's have come out behind me. Remember this now. So I was trying to play... At this point, I thought Terence would be in for a good shout, so I knew Mutt was behind me. I knew he was going to be pretty rapid because he'd just pitted. My mediums at this point are starting to feel a little bit second hand. Yeah, my strategy, I guess, is hold up Mutt and just try and hold him up a little bit. He's got to breeze past as soon as he gets on a straight line, but if I can hold Mutt up a little bit, that'll help my teammate out, I think. So that's what I wanted to do here. Meanwhile, at sharp end, Fat Pickles. Yeah, he's putting his strategy into play now. He's got clear track ahead of him. He's not got any lap cars to worry about. He can just lap now. Mutt has got to worry about traffic. So I guess that's the downside really of one stopping, because you're always going to come out behind slower cars. And at the minute, he's come out behind me, and I'm a slow car because I'm on mediums. Although I'm still trying to do my own race and do the best I can. So Surf Rev v Mental Mike. Mental Mike's got to try and get past that Aston pretty quick. Two Toyotas, 11 for 12. We've got Infinity Decals in P13 now as well. I think he's just pitted. Gemini P14, Idle 15th, and Ice Chand is 16th. We've got Fat Pickles Bro in the pits then. So I'd imagine he's just getting rid of his mediums. Where does he come out? We've got Haz 91 leading the race now. Terence P2, Phil P3, myself, I'll come out in P4. So yeah, I'm still managing to hold Mutt up a little bit. Man, I might Fat Pickles out in 7th. Right, okay. So he's now one of the only cars going to the end. We feel he's got 20 minutes remaining. I'm due a pit stop anytime. So we've got about 20 minutes left of this race. Again, as you can see, I'm just defending to Mutt here. I know it's costing me a little bit of time. I'm just trying to play the team game, give my teammate a little bit more chance, really. So Mutt, just on board with Mutt. Don't go for a lunge here, does Mutt, so just able to defend that nicely to the inside. Yeah, just so. You can see I'm uneasy about this corner all the time now. Anyway, that's the strat. Haz, I think he's going to have to pit again. So is Terry, I'd imagine. He'd probably want to get rid of their mediums at some point. I'm guessing that's what he's gone on to. Looking at his times, he's probably on mediums. The Merc will do 52s, 53s on softs all day long, really, as long as you're not fuel saving too much. Right, so we're about to see my race get ruined yet again. So I'm going to come into the pits now. I get the entry right, change my tyres, but notice my fuel. So I come in with 4% of fuel. At this point I need 11 laps worth of fuel, or 10 laps worth of fuel to be sure. GT Sport cancels my fuel very, very early. I come out at 58%, which is not enough. That's about 7 laps worth maybe. So yeah, now I've got to massively fuel save. So that's the amount of fuel I've got, just over half a tank. Mutt 36 has got that much, over three quarters. Fat Pickles Bro, about half a tank, thereabouts. So he roughly had about the same as me, to be fair. But the Porsche is a lot more fuel efficient than the Mercedes. Saves a lot more fuel. See, most cars are about 3/4 of a tank. That are going to the end now. So I am fuming. and that means I've got a massively fuel save now. So I'm in 12th. A lot of cars ahead of me still got to pit. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile at the top, my teammate's leading the race. He's going to have to pit soon to get rid of those mediums, though. I'd imagine he'll do that pretty soon. Has91's going to be pitting as well. Look at the tyre wear on his car. He's shredded those fronts. He's even using traction control to try and curb some of that tyre wear, but it's obviously still quite a drastic car. Terry carries on. Haz is going to pit. Mutt also using traction control to try and dull some of that tyre wear. He's on the mediums, going to the end now. Mental Mike in the Jag, he's going to have to pit again. Pickles we think is going to go to the end. C Trickle's going to the end as well. James, I think, looking at his fuel, he'll probably have to pit. But again, the Subaru is a very frugal car with its fuel, so it does save fuel quite nicely. Tricky Tree, looking at his fuel, he's going to have to pit again though. He might just run some mediums at the end, I'm not sure. Infinity Decals, he's going to have to pit. Phil's not going to have to pit, so he's going to the end now. Surfer's going to have to pit. Has91, he's just pitted. And I'm going to the end as well. Gemini, he needs to pit, so does Ice Chand. Marshall's just pitted, I think, going to the end, and so is Idle. So lots to unfold here yet. The top, so the driver leading the race is Terry, but he's going to have to come in and hand over the lead to Mutt. Then it's going to be a fight between Mutt and Flat Pickles Bro as to who gets top spot, because Mental Might's got to pit again. C Trickle doesn't really seem to have the pace at the minute. He's on the medium tyres, so yeah, he's not going to be able to compete for that top spot, unfortunately, but he's still got a very good result out of this race so far. James Harbin, I think he's going to have to pit again, but we don't. I'm not sure actually. I think he'll have to, so we'll tricky. Alright, let's see how this one unfolds. So the leader's into the pit, Terry. We've got a few little battles kicking off. We've got Infinity Decals versus Phil and the Viper, and a bit behind them we've got Surfer defending to the VW. I think that's Haz. Nice move there by the Viper up the inside of the Porsche. And Surfer's survived that onslaught. I am just behind these guys in 12th still, but you can't see it on the screen. I'm in fuel map 3, which basically cuts a load of power to the engine, stops the engine requesting as much fuel. Therefore you get less power. It does just mean I've got a significant pace drop off now, but it should mean I can go to the end on the fuel I've got, so it's a bit of a trade-off. I just wanted to save myself pitting again, because a pit stop would have cost me about 10 seconds and that would have been definite game over really. The other Viper holding 13th at the minute. Let's just go and check in on Mutt and Pickles. So Mutt's on the mediums, Pickles on the softs. Now it's arguable that Mutt has more fuel, can push harder. Pickles doesn't have as much fuel and is going to have to manage that a little bit during this race, so he's probably just biding his time for the time being, Pickles. Just knowing he's certain when that move can take place, and just probably wait for the VW's tyres to drop off. Probably a wise move. Mental Mike, we're going to see him pit now, I think. Still holding the fastest lap of the race, so we'll see where he comes out. James Harbin, tyres starting to go on that Subaru just a little bit, but he's doing a good job. P4 is a lot higher than he thought he would have been at the start. Just good race pace management from James, I think, so far. C Trickle, P4 for him, but he has got a couple of cars behind him looking to make moves. One of them is Tricky Tree, another is Terrence, who was leading the race for a short period. He's got tons of fuel on board that car, so you see the other Mercedes is at about 60 odd percent fuel. Oh, what happened to Tricky Tree there? Let's just have a quick look. Oh, I think he just got his brakes wrong. He just went too deep into that corner, which is a shame. The other Viper P7, Surfer and Has 91, they're still fighting. So yeah, the other Merc's carrying about another 20 litres of fuel than me. So you can see the difference really in the same car. Right, it's crunch time, got about 10 minutes left. Oh, Fat Pickles has got past Mutt. That actually happened a little bit ago as well. Crossing around the outside. Nice move by Pickles, gets himself to the inside. Mutt is fighting this. He's still there. He's still there. There we go. Off corner traction for the Porsche. Just helping it defend, just helping it, yeah, get away basically. So that's Mutt down to P2, but he is going to be fighting this one, you can be guaranteed, and that VW, he's got the fuel to push, so he can rev that car out, so on a straight it'll be a rocket ship. In the corners the Porsche could probably hold its own a little bit more than the VW can, but in a straight line that VW will fly. James then, P3 now, after C-Trickle pitted. With about 12 minutes left, the car's behind, don't get me wrong, the car's behind are probably going to be on attack mode, so Terry's going to be attacking. Lots of opportunity. Oh, see, C-Trickle's done the exact same thing that I did that sent me spinning to Shadow Realm, yet doesn't. I hate this game sometimes. So after a couple of pit stops I'm in P10, but I've got Mental Mike behind me, he's going to be pushing, he's on softs, he's got loads of fuel. I've got to save fuel, so that'll be an easy overtake for Mental Mike. Oh, Pickle's actually able to survive that. James Harben pits. So a bit of a splash and dash for James. Nice, it should give him a nice and comfortable last stint. That puts me up to P9. Surfrev's also got a pit ahead of me. Yeah. Plenty of opportunity for this to go wrong for a couple of people's. Yeah, Tricky Tree's also got to pit, so that may help. So 2 cars ahead of me definitely got a pit again. We'll of course see where that brings them out in the grand scheme of things. Oh, a little bit of a tap there on C-Trickle, and the ghosted Viper just drives straight through. What happened there? Well, he's able to just drive straight through. That's weird. Maybe he was carrying a penalty, was he? Yeah, he had a penalty. So because the Viper was carrying a penalty, it ghosted him at the corner for some reason. GT Sport does that, it's weird. So he was able to drive straight through C-Trickle. Any other realm that'd have been a bit of an accident, but because of the ghosting, that's helped avoid that, I guess. It's also put the Viper up a position. Mental Mike's flying, still doing the 51s. So this is, I think, am I right in saying this is a sort of Mental Nev from last season? Mental Nev, of course, promoted last season, so he's up a league. Alright. We've got about 10 minutes left. Let's see what's occurring. Nice little battle brewing for P14. This is between Idle and Gemini. This is Jag versus Viper. UK v USA. Or UK v Denmark. I want to say, yeah, that's Denmark. I'm sure they'll tell me if I'm wrong with the flags. I am terrible with my flags. Pretty sure DRL stands for Danish Racing League anyway, so we'll see. Oh, he's gone for the lunge. Nice move. Oh, is it clean? Yes, it is. Nice move there by Gemini. That was a right lunge. Have a look. That was nice. That was tidy, that. Yeah, Danish League though. Yeah, Idle couldn't really do much to defend against that. He'd already committed to that line, so he's kind of had to keep with it. Oh, he's gonna go for the move back though. Oh, that gave me flashbacks of Max Verstappen at Turkey's F1 race, but he kept it nice and clean. Right, so a couple of cars have pitted then. So Surfab and Tricky Tree both pitted, 11th and 12th now respectively for those two. Everyone now going to the end. James Harbin's also pitted in P9. He's chasing me down now, arguably going a lot quicker. What was happened to C-Trickle? Oh, he's just bit off a bit more than he could chew coming down. Nice little fight there as well. Has 91 and Phil. And Terry's up to P2. I'm going to flick back and see what happened there. Yeah, C-Trickle just went off. Did well not to collect anyone on his way back, but that's going to let Mental Mike and me back through. Right, let me just cut away and see what happened to Pickles. 1 sec. He pitted for fuel. That's what happened to Pickles. Right, back on with the action. So as is becoming somewhat of a tradition, last 5 or so minutes, let's give you some full uninterrupted coverage of the closing stages of the race. Right, so leading the way, Mutt 36. He is on mediums. They're starting to wear a little bit, and he's dipping into the high 54s. Terrence P2 running softs. Good tyre wear on that car, running 52s-ish. Fat Pickles Bro, fresh tyres, decent amount of fuel, running high 51, so he's on a charge now, is Fat Pickles Bro. The gap between Pickles and Mutt at this stage of the race, with about 5 minutes to go, is over 7 seconds, nearly 8 seconds. So he's got to fly, basically. Oh, nice, cut to a nice little battle between the Viper and the VW. So Phil and Has91 duking it out for honours for P4. Mental Mike P6, that jag, he did get past me. I hung with him for a lap or so, but he just had more pace at this time. Has91 went off there. Myself P7 at the minute. I'm being chased down by James Harbin. James is closing me down basically. I'm having to save a lot of fuel, although I've not far off made it now, so I think another lap or so of fuel saving, and then I'll have saved enough, and I can go a bit heavier on the accelerator pedal for the last lap or so. Yeah, James being chased down by C-Trickle. C-Trickle who had that off the last lap, but I think James is pretty safe now because he's got enough pace in that car. Infinity Decals P10. Tricky Tree and Surf Rev fighting away for P11. Surf Rev bullying his way past the Subaru, gets that move back. But the Subaru's got good grip, so it might just keep that position. Coming down to the sweeper, he's got the inside line, yeah, I think he'll do it. Marshall all by myself with Gemini, Idle. They were having a good fight not long back, and Ice Chander bringing up the rear. So what did Mutt do that time? A 54.9. So yeah, again he's stretching that a little bit. It's Terry v Fat Pickles. Does Pickles manage to get that move made? Yes, he does. Down the insides. Terry didn't really have much to answer to that. Pickles is just on a charge. He's got fresher tyres and a very fast Porsche. The Porsche is a good car, despite the Fat Pickles for some reason doesn't like it. A bit further behind, battles could emerge between Has91 and Mental Mike. Mental Mike's on a charge. As we know, Haz's tyres are starting to go a little bit. Myself, I'm kind of out of sync. I was running 53s, 54s while fuel saving, so I've not done too bad, but I know I could be getting into the 51s or 52s with good fuel and good tyres. So yeah, it was a little bit annoying, to say the least. But it is what it is. So Terry and Pickles, well, what's the gap? So the gap is 5 seconds. So Pickles has already taken 2 seconds out of Mutt in the last lap or so. Pickles' last lap was 52.9, Mutt's was a 54.9, so yeah, 2 seconds out of him. 47 minutes gone. We're going to have about another 2 laps, I reckon. So the next lap and the one after. So at that rate, Pickles will be on mutt about halfway through the last lap. Is there or thereabouts where we'll catch him. That's unless Terence messes his plans up, because that Mercedes has got good pace at this stage of the race. He's doing a grand job. 54.0 that time round, 52.9 that time round for Pickles, 55.4, yeah, so he's mutt's just losing time now. Phil, oh yeah, we can see Mental Mike starting to attack now. How's that one also trying to attack the Viper? Can Mental Mike get both of them? You never know, he's trying. Can the Jag really do it on the outside? Oh, you've got to give him room, boys. Come on. I think they're too engrossed in their own fight at the minute. It's not really a free wide corner, that, to be fair. And if these two are fighting already, not much can be done. But for the time being, Phil is holding on to P4. Haz is trying to get that position, but he's got worn softs on that car. He's going to struggle for grip now. Mental Mike with fresher tyres, yet Haz just runs it off the road. He's going to try and defend, but it might be a bit frivolous against this Jag. Yeah, Mental Mike's nice move up the inside there for P5. He can try and catch the Viper now. So that, yeah, I can see Haz 91. It's just going to be hard to get that car. You can see I'm flashing red on fuel. So I'm basically on fumes at the minute. James is similar predicament, to be fair. So I've got similar amounts of fuel to a lot of other cars. So this was actually the point in the race where I'm like, right, we've definitely got one more lap to go. I can 100% start pushing. Well, this is last lap, actually. Bear with me. Let's go and actually see what happens. So Mutt goes for another lap. So does Pickles. Terence finishes third. So Pickles and Mutt, we're going to be able to exclusively. I will rewind and watch this last lap in its entirety. Let's just rewind a sec. Yeah, so Terence claims third position for Mercedes. Great job. Phil held out at the end. P4 for the Viper. P5 for Mental Mike. P6 for Haz91. P7 for me. P8 for James Harben. P9 for C Trickle. After his off, he will probably be disappointed with that. P10 for Infinity Decals. For FP11, nice handbrakes across the line, boys. Tricky Tree. P12 for Tricky. P13 for Marshall. I started to see some big tyre wear on that guy. He did a big stint at the end, did Marshall. But a P13 for the Toyota. P14 for Gemini. P15 for ESR Idol. Again, just say he does a commentary for the other league, so go check him out. And P16 for Ice Chand. Right, so let's go and watch Mutt v Fat Pickles Bro last lap in its entirety. I think it's probably going to be worth a watch. Okay, so here it goes then. The gap. 1.8 seconds is the gap between Mutt and Pickles. Mutt's lap that time is a 55.0. Pickles 53.0. So Pickles is on average 2 seconds a lap faster at this stage of the race than Mutt is. He's definitely within range. Or he will, be within range towards the latter stages of this lap. It's got to come down to that final sector. It's got to come down to that. So we've already done so. We're in sector 2 now. As soon as it gets to the hairpin, that's sector 3. It's going to happen then. Because he's not close enough at this stage. So the Ben & Jerry's sponsored VW's got all the pressure. He's probably got a tiny bit too much fuel in that car, but he probably fueled for safety, to be fair. And he has one stop, so at that stage in the race he probably couldn't have been too confident how many laps there were going to be. Oh, you can see just how close Pickles is getting now. Right, this is it. Can Pickles do anything about this VW? Everyone else has finished the race. It is down to these two now. Just about 7 corners remain. can see, oh, the push is right on him. He's gone a little bit deep there though, as Fat Pickles. This is going to be a last lap thing. This potentially even last corner. Pickles just nerfed himself a little bit there, but he's right back on the VW. Mutt's going uber defensive. Pickles round the outside. Has he got it? Has he got it done? Oh, what a move! Let's go watch that from Pickles' perspective. 1 second. So we need to go back and watch this. So this is where Pickles went a little bit deep. So this is what murked him a little bit in the first place. So yeah, just went a bit deep here. Rescued it nice. They didn't run off the track. You're going to see him jump to the left here. There we go. And then it's just a drag race to the line. Fat Pickles Bro just ahead. They come across side by side.